Hello there, this is part 2, or really part 3 of this tutorial, because I went ahead and put my Laravel Herd tutorial as the first video here, so if you're a brand new beginner or coming onto this video specifically, you might want to watch that first one in the playlist. But essentially in my last video, I kind of went over the tech stacks available for this tutorial, and it looks like I am going to end up going with the React and inertia route. Not to say I won't try other things down the line, but for now, this is the path that I feel like I'm going to benefit the most from. I have worked with Laravel extensively for the last 5 years, but I'm not much of a React guy, so I'm starting to learn React and document my process for that. Laravel new, and we can call it Chirper. We'll follow their convention on that. So I'm not sure. That should be the same. It is using Laravel installer. You need a supported version of PHP working. You may need to mention. So this hasn't really been updated to the new, or it didn't really tell you how to do the installer. And maybe it's because you don't get the installer the regular way. I think that's what it is. But anyways, I'm just going to kind of go through and do some basic setups here. So let's go North Starter Kit. We'll go pest. We'll do a git repository. Yeah, why not? Let's just do it. Okay, so this is going to go ahead and install all our stuff. And it does SQLite by default, and if you don't really want to do much up for your database setup, it's just basically a file. You don't need to set anything up, and you can open it with a lot of the graphical user interfaces you can open it with. So I know with Table Plus you can open up SQLite files, PHP Storm you can. So there's nothing wrong with going to SQLite, but I just like doing my SQL because I just like seeing all my data in one place. That's all. Okay. Now we have it updated. Let's go ahead and finish the install. Let it run the migrations again. This is why I love this installer, because I don't even have a database yet, and it's just going to do it for me. It's like, hey, dummy, you want to install Chirper, or you want the database Chirper added? Yeah, why not? Let's go with it. All right, so it reran migrations because it already did run it against SQLite, but now I won't do it on my SQL. So it's going to do that. So now we have an environment. So it has stuff for us to do here. So we go cd chirper. Okay, so kind of here, I just saw this, but if you decide you don't want to go through the Laravel Herd tutorial, you don't really need it, because as long as you have PHP installed, you should be able to serve your site by using artisan serve. I just saw this, but if you decide you don't want to go through the Laravel Herd tutorial, you don't really need it, because as long as you have PHP installed, you should be able to serve your site by using artisan serve. We will have or at least I will have a test URL set up. And that's kind of nice if you don't like going localhost with port 8000 and would rather just set it up how you want. You can do some interesting things with your host file and set up IP mapping, and you can set up your own virtual host, but basically Laravel Herd does the virtual host part for you. So if you use Valet in the past, Herd is Valet without having to really do command line stuff. So we do like command line stuff, or at least I do, but sometimes it's just good to not have to do it. So teach your own. So if we go to cd chirper, it looks like I did it wrong. Chirper. Okay. So here, and we did do a repository. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set that up. Try not to expose anything crazy, but oh yeah, wow, I was working on a project. So let's go new. We don't need a template. We'll go chirper. Bootcamp? No, bootcamp.laravel.com for a YouTube video. Maybe you watched it. Okay, so that's it. We will go public. I don't think I need to add a readme because I'm going to add it with my actual code. So we can go ahead and add that. This is actually going to give us a lot of the info we need. I'm going to skip the init because we already did that. I'm going to skip that. And I think I really only have to do this. Okay, so this is what I need to do because it's existing. All right, even easier than what I thought. All right, so now let's go to PHP Storm. And we are not where we need to be. So this is my personal site. I'm going to open up Chirper. So for familiar, I did this. So sites/Chirper. Probably not going to do any editing on these, but we'll see. Maybe I will later. Let's go to this window. Okay, so we're going to open this up. So you'll see that it does have a README, which we're going to basically scrap. And this is where we can go. I don't know how to do a line. Can I just do? I think I just do this because HTML works. I can actually do H2 probably here. I know, so interesting, but it is important to set up a project. Okay, so I don't need a heading. That's not a heading now. So now it's going to be that. I know, the mix of things is weird. I don't know. Is it like that? I feel like that should do something, but it seems to break it. Alright, in the chat, add a comment about how you add a line. Let's just go. Alright, so we so I can do this, I believe. Alright. So I can do a YouTube video there, which I don't have it uploaded yet, so I don't know where to put it here. And I'll probably embed it. Could I embed it? I think I can, so I'm going to try to embed it. But for now, I'll do a YouTube video here. Yeah, it's kind of helped there. Tutorial. Sometimes it's just so great, and this view's kind of messing me up. I don't really do readmes that often. Okay, that works. So now if I click there. Okay, so this should probably be a unordered list. And I'm not going to do all the instructions. You guys can figure it out, but I'd rather you guys just do it yourself. But if you need to check out my code, it's there too. I like the code more for referencing. Well, let's just go ahead and clean this up a little bit. If you don't know HTML, you're basically doing unordered list and list items. So the UL is the list, the LI is the items. So we can do YouTube video, and then we're going to take that, swing, going to pop that over there into another LI, and that's going to be a link to. Okay, so now we've gotten pretty far and got nothing done. But let's just go ahead and do again. And I believe we have the code already, or the command line stuff we need. No, we don't, because we were fooling around. Don't you hate it when you fool around? Do I have it somewhere? I was not running paste, so I don't. So I'll just go ahead. We don't need to highlight that there. We actually have that there. And that there. We're going to go ahead. All right. So should we just go ahead and run command line commands without knowing what they do? Yes. And no. So basically, at your own risk. Well, if we want to walk through that, we have a Git repository that we've initialized locally. We do already have commits that Laravel put together when it installed the framework. I added another commit. So basically, we are going to link up this GitHub repository to a remote. So we're actually, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't call it a GitHub repository. I should call it a Git repository, because Git and GitHub are different things. So Git is a software that manages version control. GitHub is a commercial offering which uses Git. So essentially, I have a Git repository locally. I could just commit and push to this, and I'd still be able to kind of go through, check out old commits. But this actually does a backup. So all the code I write, it goes to GitHub, and that should be available for longer than I am. So putting code up on GitHub kind of leaves you a legacy, because now everyone will be like, this guy decided to do a bootcamp one day. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and run that. So, I didn't talk through the whole thing, but basically, git branch.m creates a new master, which I don't know if I needed to do that because I have it. And then this is going to push to origin master. Oh, -m. So git branch. This isn't create branch. Git m. I don't know. Put in the comments what that actually means, because I don't remember what it is. And now, basically, if we refresh here, we should have code. We do. So essentially, our readme's here. So, that video. So I don't have a video yet because I'm recording it, but I'm going to update that later. Laravel Bootcamp. Beautiful. Let's build something with Laravel. Cool. So we are up to that point. So now we have a project. We've served it. Oh, can we see it? Can we see it? We can't yet. So I think we already ran our npm install. But let's run npm run dev. What does this mean when we say npm run dev? So npm is Node Package Manager. Node is basically JavaScript, but essentially Node is backend JavaScript specifically. But it's confusing. I'm not going to go into that whole world, but basically you're installing packages for the front end with npm and the back end with Composer. So if we want to see what run dev pretty much is it runs your Vite scripts, which I don't know how to go further than that, but you're basically running Vite. So this would be your dev version, that would be your production version. So far you can see that we have a Vite plugin, we have Axios for some API calls, and then we have Vite. There's not much going on here. So let's go ahead and run dev. Oh, we don't have Vite installed, so that means we have not installed npm stuff. So let's install that now. And then if you don't like typing so much, you can do that. It does the same thing, just whatever. So now npm, I don't think you can do this though. That won't run the right thing. Yeah, so you actually have to type that whole thing out. So now you see you have something running locally. So I don't remember why it puts it in different places. I think this might be your actual Vite server. Okay, so I don't really know. Okay. I don't know all about Vite, but maybe I'll look into that more. But this is essentially your environment. So we have a fresh install. Okay, I never said this was going to be the fastest tutorial ever, so that's my caveat. Anything interesting yet, and I understand that. And I'm sorry. But this would be a good chance. Okay, so we've already ran this command before, and we know... Oh, it doesn't have the copy thing there. That's silly. We'll copy it then. We know we can run this because this is just a thing that we just said. And actually, I've done it before, so if you didn't want to copy that over, you can up arrow a couple times, depending on how often. This is kind of like your browser history, but for command line. Up and down arrow. Your friend, and also, if you wanted to, I don't really want to type that. Sometimes hitting tab will help. I don't think in this case. This one does. Well, cool. So you have that available to you. And then if you go back to shipper test, you see the same thing. But you'll see we have a registration already built for us. So let's go ahead and do Jordan codes. Jordan.parts.rocks. Yeah, let's do strong password. Why not? Yeah, I know. You can get into my local environment. Congratulations. Let's register. All right, so we've logged in. We haven't really done anything. And we already have kind of a pretty cool thing. All right, so I know. I'm going all over the place. You like it, though. Oh, we got to cut that out. Let's see. Okay, so if I minimize that, I think I want dark mode. I don't know if I can add it. It's not important. We won't do dark mode. So if you don't like dark mode, I apologize, but we're not doing that. I think you can... I don't remember if there's built-in dark mode support on... What is this even? Not Jetstream, but the other one. Breeze. So I think we would have had to... Let's see. Okay, we're logged in. Let's see if there's anything. Okay, so if you want to see something that Breeze allows you to do, you can usually put this in and have an idea. So I don't think there's anything. Can I install Breeze again? Let me try that. Okay, so this is great. Let's go React with inertia. And this is what I want. I want dark mode support. TypeScript. I don't know. I'm not going to do TypeScript at this point. And we're going to stay with pest. Now we should be on dark mode. So we're doing composer stuff. Looks like we ran npm stuff. And then we're actually... Okay, it's not going to do the... As I said before, you should be able to up arrow. You click on here. Go to my dashboard. It should still be logged in. All of a sudden, we are in dark mode. So they don't have a dark mode switcher built in, but that's actually not too hard to add, I don't think. So I'll have to look at that later. I apologize. Okay, so now... Okay, I already did that. Now let's do chirps. All right, so what do we got here? We got models, we got migrations, we got controllers. So for you command line people, we're going to do some more command line stuff. So if you haven't worked with Laravel, before. You may not be familiar with Artisan, but Artisan is basically your command line tool for Laravel to really automate a lot of the things you do. So this is going to create you a model for your chirp. And then the options here, we got -M, -R, and -C. I can't remember what the R is, but we got migration, and we got a controller, and I think that might be a resource. But if we go down here, we can see, I don't know. Okay, so maybe the R doesn't do much. Model, migration, resource, or maybe it's resource controller. I think that's what it is. It's migration and resource controller. So you're going to have a migration at your timestamp. You're going to have a chirp controller. So let's go ahead and take that on. All right, so if you don't really deal with Git much, you can go here to get your status to see, oh, we've actually deleted quite a few files. We've added a few files, but this is basically our dark mode stuff. It reinstalled a bunch of stuff. So let's go ahead and do and let's commit this. And I like to use Vim for writing commits. You don't have to. And I don't like -M because I like to be able to go through and see. And okay, this is a lot of files. I remember what this is. I am going to dark mode. Let's go install dark mode support on, so not Jetstream, but Breeze. And we're going to right quit to get out, and then I can push that up. So now if you go get status, we're clean. So we don't have anything in our working tree or our in progress stuff. We did the part around the dark mode, and now we're going to start to create these files. So as you recall, PHP artisan make model MRC chirp. And I hate to tell you this, but I have cleaned this up on my own system to use an alias. So this should work. And now, if we go get status, we have a few new files. You see we have a chirp controller, we have a chirp, and we have a migration. Now we have the files we need. All right, so it hasn't had us do anything yet with these files. They're in place.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Yeah, we know. Sorry, that was just Alexa. So we have a file called web.php, and it looks like we're adding a few things here. This is the stuff that I think is already kind of included out of the box. I can verify this in a second. So let's go ahead and take this up. And let's look at web. So we have that. We have a dashboard. We have Authman Aware for profile. Looks like the part that we need, which is highlighted, is this. I like this approach. Cool. So basically, we have a chirp controller, which we have. We need to import. So we're basically going to have this URL for chirps. So we're going to have index and store. All right, so if we go to /chirps, we have a blank page. So we have gotten this far. All right, so it also says that you can run route list to verify you have those names, but essentially, if you run that, you'll have those routes available to you. So you'll have a git at /chirps for your index action, and a post at the same URL for your store. The URLs kind of work that way because they're accessed in a different way. So a GET and a POST is a different request. So that's how we can use the same URI or URL. So it's basically your local /chirps for either a POST request or a GET request. So with that out of the way, it looks like it has the first thing that we want to do on a controller. So if you've done any programming tutorial ever, this probably looks familiar to you. So if we go back to our code window, let's go to our chirp controller. And it is a class, so I can do Shift Tab to go back to there. Basically, it just wants to prove that we're here. So I think I just did dump and die, if I remember right. So let's call it Hello YouTube. What is this going to be? Oh, hello from chirp controller. That works too. Hello, you are in chirp controller. I like that. So we do a hit a quick little refresh. We are sure enough getting that. All right. So they didn't do a dump and dive. They did an actual response, which is probably what you're supposed to do on a controller. So let me show that off. So now you can actually know that you're returning a response. I think if you want to show it that way, see if it gets it right. That should be fine. So he's doing a response that should return that side of things. So if we go back to our chirp test, we can see that we're just getting a response and it looks like a regular web page. Wonderful. So what next? Well, we're going to play inertia now. As we've kind of discussed, we are going into React side of inertia. So it looks like it wants us to render something that probably doesn't exist yet. We're going to head and do copy, not copy and highlight, and we are going to return the inertia render. Which if we import inertia, it is, I like to verify, but inertia, which that should be correct, it's the only option. And then we have chirp/index, and it doesn't have anything there yet. But I imagine, oh great, we're getting into React world now. I don't understand what this is, but we'll get there. Sources, we have views, and let's see, we wanted to go JS, because this is actually, I'm so used to the blade world. We put your blades there. Okay, future Jordan kind of interjecting here. Past Jordan put chirps in the components folder. It's actually supposed to be in the page folder. So past Jordan's going through and explaining some of this code. You're essentially importing a few components. You have an index function, which I think passes all the information to the index side of it. You have on the submit, that's going to handle your form stuff, but we're going to have to move this to the page folder, just so you know. And I think this is something that we're close to figuring out, but it's always fun to kind of see what past Jordan was going through. He is talking about how you have Ziggy routes for the chirps.store to connect the front and back end. Yeah, you have some tailwind going on here. That's where your form submit is, the logic's there. You're going to prevent your default, so you're not going to send it to a new page. You're going to do a post request in the background to kind of preserve the reactivity of things. Alright, so I thoroughly enjoy the fact that past Jordan can't figure out why nothing's loading on his page. Spoiler, he doesn't have the right file. Oh, look at that, he's figuring it out. Oh, pages/chirp/index.jsx. I wonder if he's going to figure out what's wrong yet. Nope, he's still struggling. This is the part where he's double checking the code, making sure he did it right. He can't quite figure out what's going wrong. Read the documentation again, and all of a sudden, you're like, maybe I should install this again. Oh, but we already did, so this isn't going to fix our issue. Well, maybe if we keep rage. Now we've corrected the issue where we put it in the components instead of the pages. So now you can see that we have our UI elements we expect, but as we notice, they are not in dark mode. And past Jordan was very frustrated. So now we have something that's working. It's basically resetting the form. But let's go ahead and add some dark mode compatibility here. So if we start off with this area and send it off again, we can sort of see the reactivity and the functionality that we have. But let's do this dark mode thing. Alright, so if we look at these individual components, let's start off with the text area. Or actually we'll do the div. So dark, we'll do dark mode. BG's the background, and then the color. So let's go with something slate 700. I doubt that's going to be what we want. No, gross. We hate it. Let's change it. Let's see what we got here. Oh, looks like, yeah, let's use that again. Boom. Go on over. It's not going to be slate. It's not going to be slate. What's going to be? We are going to go with gray 800. Ugh, that's not what we like either. Let's try again. What if we just go darker? That could be a thing, right? 900. Boom, we like it. Sorry, that was loud. Alright, let's do the same with these other areas now. Okay, so text area. I don't know if you're supposed to put these in alphabetical order. Looks like it's some sort of semblance of alphabetical order. So let's go ahead and put dark before focus, maybe. So we got block, we got W full, we got border. So the W full seems to be a little out of place, but that's probably more of because of the actual structure and function of it. Let's go ahead and add something for dark right here. So let's go dark BG for background. Do we want to do something like slate 800? Let's give it a shot. Actually, I like that. But now you see that the text is very, very dark. That's not good for dark mode. Let's go ahead and adjust that now. So, similar to dark BG, we could do dark, text, and then a color. Gray 100 might work. Let's see. Let's try 200. I actually kind of like that. Okay, so that works. Well, maybe let's go a little lighter. Yeah, that's fine. But, you know I like changing things. 50? Let's go dark. 500. It's pretty dark, but it's doable. I think I want more contrast, so it kind of looks like the placeholder. So let's find some middle ground. Maybe 300. And you know what? 300 I think works. So let's stick with that. Beautiful. Love it. Jordan is writing a tutorial. Good job, Jordan. Alright, so now let's do the same to the input. Looks like we have an MT2, MP4. So primary, let's do that one first, actually. So we got dark, BG, slate 800. Do we want to do that one? I can't remember. Thinking, let's do something way different. Let's do sky. Alright, so that works. But now the text is off, so let's fix that. So as you remember, we do dark, text, and we want a lighter color, so amber, I don't know. Let's just try a weird color for the fun of it. No, absolutely not. Alright, what should we try? Let's just try the pure white. And that works for me. Well, let me just see how this works. Oh, the hover's not good. I don't like that at all. Let's see. Let's try if we can just do hover. I think it has to be lowercase, so we'll do hover. And then BG, sky 900? Or let's do slate just so we can tell the difference. That did not pick up. And I think the issue is we didn't put dark mode on there. I wonder how long future Jordan's going to spend just wondering about that. Alright, so hover, text. Oh, dark. Yes, let's do dark. And you could see that works, but there's no variation. So let's make something that will show a variation. 500? Why not? Let's try it. I actually kind of like that. Alright.